All right, so we're ready to go deep on this one.
Yeah, should be fascinating.
The Third Rainbow Girl by Copley Eisenberg.
Wow, okay.
This book
Yeah.
is really something else. It's true crime, but it's also memoir, cultural analysis. It's all woven together.
Sounds intense.
And it all revolves around these unsolved murders
Okay.
of two young women,
Mm.
Vicky Durian and Nancy Santamero.
All right.
And this was back in 1980 in Pocahontas County, West Virginia.
1980, wow.
Yeah. So to set the scene a little bit,
Please.
these women, they were on their way to a rainbow gathering.
A rainbow gathering. What's that?
Yeah, so for folks who might not know, it's kind of like a countercultural gathering, like
Right.
back to the land kind of thing.
Right.
Focused on peace,
Mm.
harmony with nature, that sort of vibe.
So it's like kind of a hippie gathering then?
Yeah, you could say that. It's about community, you know?
Okay, so these two women on their way to this peaceful gathering.
Right, and this is where the story takes this dark turn.
Oh, so it's not all peace and love.
Sadly?
No.
What happened?
They were murdered.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Yeah, and it happened in this really remote area.
So in Pocahontas County,
Exactly.
rural West Virginia.
And the case went unsolved for years.
Really? Yeah.
Years. It just fueled all these rumors.
Bet.
Suspicions.
Makes sense. Small community.
Very tight-knit community. And it really seems like even though someone was eventually convicted.
They were.
Yeah, in the 90s, Jacob Beard.
Oh.
But then that conviction was overturned later.
So still unsolved then?
Essentially, yeah. The mystery of who did it and why, it just hangs over the whole area.
I can only imagine.
And that's what Eisenberg dives into.
She tries to solve it.
Not exactly. She approaches it from all these different angles.
Okay.
So it becomes more than just a true crime story.
So what else does she bring into it?
Well, first, there's her own connection to Pocahontas County.
Oh, she's from there.
She lived and worked there.
So she's got this firsthand insight into the culture, the dynamics of the area.
That's a unique perspective for sure.
And she doesn't shy away from the stereotypes about Appalachia.
Oh, yeah, I can see how that could play a role.
The backwardness, the violence, all of that. She examines how those perceptions might have actually impacted the investigation.
Interesting.
How people viewed the crime.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. So how does she actually go about, like, telling the story?
She uses all these different perspectives, interviews with locals.
People who were there at the time.
Right, folks who lived through it all, the aftermath, everything.
Okay.
And legal documents, too.
To get the facts straight.
Exactly. That framework for the case.
Smart.
But then also firsthand accounts.
Personal stories, then.
Yeah, the emotional weight, the human side of it all.
So she's really trying to get a complete picture.
I think so. And through all that, she reconstructs the events leading up to the murders.
Oh, that's interesting.
And even after. You get to know the victims, their idealism, their sense of adventure.
I see.
And then on the other hand, there's the exploration of the accused.
Those convicted.
Right, and their lives, shaped by the hardships of rural Appalachia.
Okay.
The isolation.
Yeah, sounds complex.
It is. And she doesn't just stop at the specifics of the case.
It goes deeper.
It raises these bigger questions about justice.
Like, was justice served?
Yeah, or even can it ever truly be served in a case like this?
That's a tough question.
And then there's the question of prejudice.
Oh, right, those stereotypes we talked about.
Yeah, how those biases about Appalachia specifically, maybe even about the victims themselves, how all of that might have affected the investigation, the perceptions of everyone involved.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
And then she also gets into the lasting impact of violence.
How it affects the community.
Absolutely. The scars that linger for generations.
Yeah, I can see that.
And even Eisenberg herself, she reflects on the emotional toll of delving into this story.
It must be heavy.
This dark, unresolved story.
Makes sense.
And throughout the book, you feel this tension between the insider and outsider perspectives.
Oh, that's interesting.
Those who are from the area.
Versus those who come in from the outside.
Exactly. And also that tension between urban and rural life.
Different experiences, different ways of seeing the world.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's that overarching tension of the search for truth.
Trying to find answers.
When so much remains unclear.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating.
It is. And Eisenberg, she really focuses on these larger societal forces at play.
What do you mean?
Things like gender, class, geography.
How those factors contribute to crime.
Yeah, and not just the occurrence of crime, but also the consequences.
How it's dealt with.
Exactly.
It sounds like this book really makes you think.
It does. I mean, The Third Rainbow Girl, it's more than just a true crime story. It's a deep dive into identity, memory, how we understand ourselves and the stories we tell.
Powerful stuff.
And Eisenberg's writing, it's so lyrical, empathetic. It brings this real depth and humanity to a story that's multifaceted and tragic.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that there's no easy answers here.
Not at all. And it leaves you with this question.
Hmm.
Can there really be closure without concrete answers?
Good question.
And if not, how do you move forward under the shadow of something like this?
Yeah. How does a community or even just one person, how do they cope with that?
That's something for all of us to think about, right?
Yeah.
What does justice look like when the truth remains out of reach?
A lot to ponder there.
Definitely. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Anytime.
It's been a heavy one, but important.
For sure. Let us know what you think, listeners.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
See you then.
Take care.
You too.